Merrimack TV content may no longer be available on YouTube. To continue watching our programs, please download the Merrimack TV app from your device's app store. Programs may also be available at merrimacktv.com.
Evening, Merrimack. Welcome to the Merrimack Village District Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is May 19, 2025. Call the meeting to order at 5:37. The public participation is offered by webinar, and you can go on the MVDwater.org website. On the agenda, there's a link you can click on, and there's also a phone number you can call in if you wanted to participate. So now I'll ask everybody to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so we got a full Board of Commissioners present tonight. So with that, I think we can start with the Finance and Human Resources Review. And we have Kristen Marr here tonight with us.
Thank you. Financial report ending for April 30th. We are 83% done with the year. We have 2 more months to go for this fiscal year of 2025. As of right now, our revenue is currently sitting at $5.8 million. Expenses at $4.2 million with an average net ordinary income of $1.6 million. That has been with moving all of the purchase of water into the budget. We have 3 more invoices left at roughly $25,000 each. So we're still very healthy. We still have a roughly $500,000 first installment of our 2, 9, 7, and 8 loan that I actually just got today. So again, with $500,000 coming out of that net ordinary income, we're still pretty healthy. So if you, as I had mentioned last month, potentially moving the second media changeouts instead of putting those to capital, potentially leaving them in the budget. We have not gotten those invoices yet because we're about to do it at the end of this month, those second changes. So just keep that in mind. In terms of
Kristen,
yeah.
sorry, does it have? I don't think it does, but does. Let me try again. Does that have any tax implications at all? Because you really don't pay income tax at all anyway, right?
Nope.
For any of the funds raised and so on.
Correct.
So, okay. So it's really just a matter of, do we want to preserve the reserve?
Exactly.
Or not?
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Other expenses to point out, we have a change from the previous month. We seem to be having a very wet spring / beginning of summer. So our revenues are actually still where they should be, even though we are having a very wet summer. So basically tier 2 isn't really kicking into effect because no one's having to irrigate their lawn because every weekend it rains. In terms of the detail for either revenue or expense, does anyone have any
I do.
questions? Yep.
Account 60500 motor vehicle maintenance. That's been creeping up pretty good. Budget here.
We had to fix a few of our trucks that to pass inspection.
But we also have replaced quite a bit of our trucks lately, right?
Correct. The ones that are on slot to be replaced next year are the ones we had to
Okay, so
fix.
none of the new ones have been affected, even not those that we bought 2 years ago.
Correct,
All the older ones have been affected.
correct.
I asked because my RAM is a PO, I'm not gonna say the last letter, and I wanted to know how ours are. So we haven't had any super recurring quality issues with those new ones.
No, we've done some of the older trucks, we've done some body work to actually keep them on the road, quarter panels, stuff like that, get another year out of them.
Okay, but none of the new ones. So this number is not coming from the new ones.
Not at all.
Okay,
No.
thank you. Thanks.
So it's just like pulling forward some expenses we were expecting later.
We hadn't purchased in a while, previous to me actually starting here. And it's gotten us a while to kind of catch up our fleet. Where at the end of next fiscal year, we should be able to do one, if not one, every other year to then maintain our fleet accordingly.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Balance for the end of April. Our unassigned net position sitting at 1 million. Net income, this is with all accounts, which includes the 4 and 5, our trusts and so forth, is at $2.4 million as of 5/13, which is basically I've gotten the majority of April invoices in for that time. Of that, 3.7 of it is cash, 15.8 of it percentage of cash versus total amount of the fund balance. And then the total percent of the fund balance is 63.6. Any questions on fund balance? Past activities. I have a few items that I highlighted in yellow, doing some reconciliations because we're getting towards the end of the year. We do have, in this fiscal budget, we approved $125,000 to come out of capital for the PFA polishing treatment. Majority of it thinking it was coming from EPA or capital. We have spent $43,000 so far. Do we want to wait to see where that ends and just kind of roll like 24, we approve this, 25, we approve this, 25, 6, wait till the whole project's over before we ask for capital?
I thought that's how they like to see it happen. Let's finish it up, then request it all in one shot.
We can,
I thought that's how kind of the trustees trust fund like to see it happen.
They don't mind either way. It depends on, because as I said, I can put that you guys approved within this budget to come out of capital, within this budget to capital, just roll it all into one request. He doesn't really mind which way we do it, as long as I have a backup for it. So of the 125, we've spent 43. I've actually just got another 23,000 from Blue Leaf.
Part of the invoice from Underwood.
They were separate.
It was one packet. Part of the Underwood bill.
Okay. So we spent a little bit more as of today that I got those invoices, and then the same respects for Mitchell Woods. As of FY24, you had approved 75,000 coming out of capital. We've spent 36 and 25,000. We've spent more, but 25 to potentially coming out of capital. Again, I just kind of wanted to get a feel for, do we wait till the whole project's over? Okay.
Well, especially because we have such a surplus right now, right? Or no? We even want to burden it's the same question as with,
Well, so it's not in the budget and it's not out of capital. It's kind of in our limbo of, so we need to decide where we want to put that. if we do wanna put it into the budget, then yes, I'd move it up to the engineering as an expense. For these years. Or again, we wait till the whole project is done and we see where we fall, but I do have you approving each year how much could come out of capital. And because it's capital, doesn't have to necessarily happen within that year. And then lastly, the last column,
How about if for next month, as the last month of the fiscal year, we get kind of a list and accumulate what the dollar amount is for all of
what I'd
those
like to move to budgets.
and see how that compares with the surplus, and then we can, do this in one shot.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
So,
So two different budgets,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, basically, yeah. Instead of going through piece by piece and see the whole impact at once on the budget. So we don't piecemeal and make isolated decisions.
And then, as I was about to say, the last column, Penachuk contract, year 3 of 3, I have already put that back into the budget. Any questions on activity from the trusts?
get a highlight on the new finance utility software.
I just moved it down to 2026 since we got 2 months.
Oh, yeah,
left
yeah,
and
all right.
we've Not really started anything.
Sorry, it says 3 years out on that header for 2026. What am I missing here?
26, 2027, 2028.
Down at the bottom, the last header.
Yes, upcoming CIP projects, so year 2026, 2027, 2028.
It's on the next page.
Okay, so that's for each of them in green. Okay. All right, just looks like it's for that.
So the
one thing.
blue line
Okay.
is the total, yeah. Any other questions, anybody, or,
Normal summary, stated in other formats. Any questions overall?
no? All right, no more questions, we'll move on to the regular session. So first on the agenda was the, annual review of the investment policy. We have a copy of that here.
It's exactly the same stuff. There's just the new dates on it. It's kind of-
That was one of the questions I had, is if anything changed.
Do we need a vote on it, or
It's,
do we need to hear it again, or can we vote today?
it's just an annual review. It's not a new policy or anything.
So we can vote today.
Yeah, you don't have to have several meetings.
I'll make a motion to accept the investment policy for the new effective date of July 1st, 2025, as presented.
Motion by Wolf, second by Aaron. Any other questions or anything? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. 500, no opposition, no abstentions. All right, so we can move on. Discussion of a possible rate study update by Underwood Engineers. Second item on the regular session agenda.
Yeah, so, last meeting, you asked us to,
Yes.
so I emailed Megan and asked her about updating the difference between the update and doing the full description, the full, doing a small update or redoing the, water model and all that stuff too, so, she said, it looks like the last full rate model update we did was completed in December of 2018. Then projected rates out through fiscal year 24, which is June of 2024. We did a few rate reviews since then to check if things were tracking with the model and updated rate recommendations as needed. Since we're coming up on fiscal year 2026 and out of the model projection window, we recommend doing a model update, which will update all of the input information and project rate needs for the next 5 years. Ballpark cost is 19 to 20,000. And then I asked her what that means for as far as updating, and she said we would use the MVD data to update accounts, meters, sprinklers, hydrants, multi-unit consumption, cost comparisons to similar communities, prior revenues and expenditures, current reserves, debt schedules, and CIP items. We'd use that information to estimate projected expenditures and then provide recommendations for rate increases as needed. We'd also include sample bills for the recommended rates. So what we did for reviews before was like about $4,700. This is the reason for the 19 to 20,000. They do a re-input everything, and that's what I wanted. I figured you would ask, what does that include? That's what it includes.
And then, as I had mentioned, we have not done the recommended last 3 increases.
So, and this would we'd be looking for 20, 26, 27.
It would be for that fiscal year, yes.
What's in the budget? We have a rate model? Okay. So we haven't budgeted for this.
So financially, we're doing fine without doing the 3 recommended rate increases, you said, right?
As of right now, yes.
And we're doing well. Why do you think that is?
One, there were some significant expenses that did not happen last year.
Some engineering that hasn't
That-
come to fruition because we're holding off on some projects.
Correct.
Okay, so we anticipated.
there's quite a few expenses that just didn't happen.
Okay.
A few things did get kicked down the road. Which is at the end of next year is where I'm gonna start saying, I don't really know, because again, with our CIP, we're gathering data right now with a lot of the stuff we're doing on what may need to be done for mains and lead service and all kinds of things like that. But they're not really budgeted out in our model as of right now, which is part of what they do. As part of this rate study, we've gone out comfortably to 27, 28. But after that, with what we plan, with how much the town's growing, is a new water source an absolute? Do we have over another treatment plant, or those are the things we need to figure out?
It seems like the whole.
Because we haven't done those last 3 recommendations, where do we sit?
I'm also concerned that because we've kicked some stuff out, because we're waiting on further information, that to spend $20,000 right now on a rate study when we don't have all the backup to give them,
Exactly.
I feel like we need to wait at least another year, because
We gotta figure what we're doing.
we gotta figure out what we're
Yeah.
doing before we say, hey, how do we pay for what we're doing in the
'Cause those are gonna
future?
Be the biggest expenses we gotta.
Those are gonna be the
plan for
biggest
potentially.
expensive, and I feel like
That's
we're
significant.
also in limbo with like the lawsuit, never
Yeah.
like. I don't know how we do a real good rate study
Right.
without all of that information.
I think we have to translate for our new commissioners a little bit.
Sorry.
So if I may interpret what I think you guys are saying is, we had a couple of projects on the table for additional water sources. Mitchell Woods as an additional water source, as a well. Artificial recharge of wells 4 and 5 through the Merrimack River by, injecting river water into the ground and artificially recharging the aquifer faster. And maybe in the process, diluting some of the PFAS out of the groundwater. We have the Pennachuck connection was one of them, which we actually did anyway for now.
It's a wholesale agreement
A
that we
wholesale
have with
agreement.
them for 3 years now.
And I'm missing one. There was one more.
We're not gonna talk about it.
That's right. We're not going to talk about that.
So there is another
There's not on the
potential
table that we
solution
don't like to
that
talk
we're not
about.
gonna talk about right now.
And we basically have, they're all kind of floating in the air because we're not 100% or not even 50% clear as to which one is really worth the money to pursue.
Right.
Mitchell Woods is great, but low producing and fairly expensive, very likely to create in the first place. So the cost per gallon is going to be expensive, but it's going to be nice water for the summertime. In the ballpark, right? Artificial recharge has been done before successfully, but not all over the world and not everywhere in New Hampshire.
Are all those things in study at this
They
time?
are up to a certain level and then we just
And we
said,
kind of like stopped it.
Yeah.
because-
yeah,
It's been a little bit frustrating because we kind of got the same, frankly, half-baked information, right? So
Right.
it's just not there that it's like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. We got to do this, right? And that's why a lot of that got delayed over the last couple of years because it wasn't just self-explanatory which one to go for.
So one of the things that was not factored into the rate study that we actually came in under budget on the treatment plants,
Correct.
and we actually
And it
got
got
an
pushed
additional
out.
grant.
I was going to say that too. We've been pretty lucky with
Very
some
fortunate.
third-party
with
money.
Our financing.
yeah.
I feel like, if, that it wouldn't even be worth it to do that review as opposed to an update, because again, we don't have real good
Right.
data.
Right.
Right.
So
'Cause they don't know
push
what-
it off to 2027
Yeah.
and then just say that's on the CIP or something.
Well, it is in the CIP. I think it is pushed out.
We
It
keep
is.
pushing that one out.
We have pushed
Yeah.
it out a couple of years.
And we may end up pushing it out again, depending on how other things unfold, so.
Okay, so you don't want me to, I won't have them do a
Prob-
PSR or anything like that. This is solid.
I think so.
I think we really have to wait.
Slated 27,
I pushed it out one more year, so I believe to be part of,
27,
26, 27.
And that's what they're recommending.
okay. I was gonna say, I think it's,
I do think it is.
We will have more information on all these other projects.
Well, it might be a good idea with the new commissioners that we might actually do another update where we stand with all of this and refresh our own memories too, because I think
I think they've recommended that, doing a couple smaller updates,
Yeah.
just to kind of make sure that we're still kind of current, and do a big one down the road.
So the 19-20,000 was for an overall full-blown, yeah,
All the things that were listed out, the meters, fire and so that.
yeah.
I think would be amazing to have when we get to the point where we have enough information
what-
to support it, know what we're gonna do going
Yeah.
forward.
agreed.
I think, yeah.
All right, so that's all we needed was a decision to whether you wanted us to put together a proposal or not, so we can table that.
That makes sense. Based on the limited information that
Yep.
we presented to you guys. Right.
Yeah, I mean, on that notion, it really is kind of time for us one way or another to put a nail into the coffin for Mitchell Woods, for example, or not, right? And say, let's do it or let's not do it, right? We've been talking about this. We just spent money to
Oh yeah, weren't
to
we
extend-
testing it? They were gonna do a pump test to
Well,
see if we pulled PFAS out of it.
Yes.
Did that happen? Am I ruining your report?
No, I didn't know, no, not yet.
Yeah, because I think that
A little
was,
bit, but
I think that was what we were, when we were talking about Mitchell Woods last time, we were ready to put the nail in that coffin, but the
Well-
money that we had already agreed to for the pump test, he was like,
well, for the permitting.
for the, if we did the pump test and all that kind of stuff, we could see one more time if there's PFAS in the well and move from there, and that would be the nail in that coffin. I think we agreed to that like 2 or 3 months ago.
yes, you know when they're getting ready, they're gonna do the pump test, Joe?
I don't.
Can we put that on the agenda for the next meeting to get
Yeah,
a solid update as
We have
comprehensive as possible on Mitchell Woods?
Yeah, it seems, I think we heard from Jamie in several months now.
Yeah, he's
I know.
he's been busy, but yeah.
He didn't retire, did he?
No, he's been.
He was threatening that a year or so ago, so.
Well, his
Cutting back.
Yeah.
semi-retirement and cutting back is probably
Right.
50 hours a week, so yeah.
Well, but I mean, look at this. I mean, here we are, 5 commissioners and 3 paid staff discussing the rate study that's impacted by a decision. Are we doing anything with Mitchell Woods? Are we doing anything with the artificial recharge, right? And I mean, we've been spending countless hours on this, right? So I think it would be good to really push that to the next step.
It needs to be compared against other things too. That's why I think we can't just make a decision yet, because we don't have all of our alternatives in front of us.
Correct.
That's why I think.
But
we
it,
need to-
yes, but we
it
also
kinda
talked about
depends on
if
the
Mitchell
lawsuit.
Woods came up with PFAS, that nail is sealed in that coffin. It's probably not worth it. For the.
And we are doing a pump. I don't recall when we're doing, I know we have.
Yeah.
I think it was
Yes.
later on.
I want to
I
say he
just
said
don't-
it was gonna be this summer,
And I just.
but I don't remember. Yep.
Can we put it on the agenda for the next
Absolutely.
meeting? And I really should be comprehensive, should be including the power line issue, right? And I know we talked about it, but it's just not there, right? We gotta have a nice solid slate of information.
Yeah.
So we're all on the
Does it
same
make
page.
sense? What are we gonna do
Would
with
it
the
matter if you-
information though? We're still
would it-
not gonna compare it to other stuff we don't know.
Would it, maybe it would be better
I
to
don't
do
know
a
that.
work session,
Why don't we wait till?
Jamie, because then we could
Fine.
discuss all the options freely.
Say that-
Really, but I know what you're saying. We don't have any other, we're not. gonna
But we do.
Out there yet for
No,
a while.
Right.
because-
no,
I'm getting a little bit lost in the weeds, but we had a whole table of comparison price per, pump cost,
Yeah, we
cost
did.
per gallon. That has been updated like 3 times in the
And there was
last couple
one
of years.
item on there that wasn't on the
So-
table that we wanted to
Right.
look at. So I think if even we got up to date on the other alternatives, we're still missing that last one. And we may not be able to evaluate that last one for 2 years. So I don't know what we do with the other ones at this point. We just leave them lie and not have to spend the money on them.
I thought it was off the table for other reasons for right now.
Right.
Till we get some things squared away.
Yeah. I mean, keep in mind, Mitchell Woods is in the groundwater management zone.
right.
If it's violated, the PFAS is violated, the polluter, if it's proven who the polluter is, would,
But we're moving ahead on that.
it's in the groundwater management zone, so that would be our plastic friends on that one.
Yeah, no, we're moving ahead on the the testing.
Sample, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
We're doing that.
But I mean, you're saying if we find PFASs we need to treat for it, we'll throw it away.
Well, I also
Same.
thought maybe we thought if we found it in there, we could throw that into the lawsuit.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's do the pump test.
Oh, we
I don't know if we're gonna,
We're
We
definitely.
agreed to do the.
I don't know how much this power issue thing is gonna cost, but I don't know if you're asking about trying to get that up to speed. I don't
The
know.
well thing was kind of put on hold.
Yeah,
That's what I was getting at is that.
I would say,
That-
in my opinion, I think we go ahead with the pump test. That's gonna tell us
Sure.
a lot of
And we are.
Yeah.
direction.
That's a go. I just don't know the date off the top of my head. I'm gonna say it was later this summer, but I just don't have that. I have to go back.
Yeah, we
I
agreed
think-
to it and Jamie was like, okay, we'll get it scheduled and it'll
Yeah.
happen. And I don't remember.
As far as like the cost of
When?
the infrastructure that was done, and I think maybe waiting to update that, I think I'd wait on.
Right, we weren't moving ahead
Yeah.
more with the cost of the power and all that kind of stuff. We were just seeing what the pump would
Because
do.
whatever they come up with a cost for the next meeting, and if by the time we compare everything, including the last option, we can't talk about, all the costs are gonna be 2 years old anyways.
Correct.
So we might as well just do it in 2 years from now or whatever, whenever that date is. There was an alternative that we were gonna look at that had an impact on our litigation, so we decided to not pursue anything because we don't have all of the information, and we won't have all the information until we're closer to the litigation date, which is now in 27. So we may be status quo for 2 more years.
Right, and that we talked about maybe renegotiating with Penachuk,
Right.
but doing it on a more, we're not using as much as we thought we would kind of thing. And yeah, so
anyways, probably more confusion now than before.
We're at the minimum though. Aren't we?
With what?
On the,
Chuck?
on the, yeah, I thought we're at the minimum of what they would.
I don't know, it might be. I know if we,
I think you're right. I think there was the minimum.
yeah,
But that could change. I did talk with,
Somewhere.
that was on, I just lost his name. Chris County. And they might be looking to talk with us anyways, because their numbers are getting high over in Amherst.
they're supplying over there.
They supply, we offset their use in Amherst. They use as a peak offset, and the numbers are getting higher.
The demand numbers you're saying, actually?
I'm sorry, their PFAS.
All right.
I apologize.
Yeah.
We're talking different.
Yeah, okay.
So they may need to just sever that supply over there altogether, but
Huh?
nothing's cast in concrete right yet, but.
When does when does the wholesale agreement have to renew?
It ends in August. So that
Does
was,
it end in
my
August?
question was, has anyone started that
We have not yet.
renegotiation?
We have not yet, so.
Isn't
It's 2 months into the next fiscal year, and then I have what's after that?
Because just so you guys know, we pay a flat rate fee. There's two components to it. One is a flat rate monthly fee, no matter what. And then there's also a usage fee,
What was I thinking,
which is
October?
based on gallons or
That was the
cubic feet, whatever. But it's substantially
That's what I
lower.
was thinking.
So that monthly fee is just sort of like an insurance policy in case we do need to use some of the water. Which we probably haven't used their water in months now, right? 1 month of,
1 month of the whole contract so far.
We may have used a little bit. We've actually talked in our management team meeting, we actually talked about just firing it up and just making sure things were working and just kind of getting used to it, and nothing long term, just a test run and
I mean, that's,
fire things up.
I think I mentioned a couple meetings ago that, do we want to think about not renewing it if we're using it? You can't predict the future, that's the problem. If we knew we weren't going to use it as much as we didn't use it, we would have been better off paying the retail rate for that 1 month and saving the fixed fee every month that we don't
We're
use.
not guaranteed to have.
Priority,
status.
I know. So that it's an
Yeah,
insurance policy
And we had that discussion, right?
is the way we
So-
left it, so,
Insurance is expensive.
yeah.
It is actually a pretty nice insurance if you think about it, because it's pretty brainless. All we ask is flip the switch, Igor.
That's, I mean, and that's what we were running into when we needed it.
I mean, it is a nice ace up our sleeve. It
You know,
really is.
when our.
We haven't had a drought,
We haven't.
substantial drought, and that's
When our
what,
tank was dropping.
I feel like we only stopped having droughts once we entered into that
Yeah.
agreement.
It's like my snowblower.
I can sleep at night now.
yeah, I know. So if we
So
reverse it,
I feel like that's where it's paid off, is we haven't had a drought since we entered into that agreement.
We also haven't had a well down since then, which we had at the time. When we
Right.
entered that. So,
Right.
Murphy's Law, you know, I mean, we've got, everything's back up and running now, and
it's a gamble.
Yes, you can say things like that.
Your GAC deliveries haven't held up anything. That's smoother now. Back then, that was,
yeah.
That was like
horrible.
pulling teeth.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of reasons why we needed this thing.
Is it something you can negotiate just for summertime hour timeframe instead of the?
We basically did.
No, the PUC said we had to have a contract.
Well, it's a contract, but it's a.
The peak is double the
we can
average.
use Peak
Yeah.
usage, so it's
But
not
it's-
something we have to run, so we,
And whatever we're not using, we're banking too.
right. So it's, yeah, we can
So
take
we're
the minimum,
prepaid.
we can get the peak, we can get peak usage, and we can basically use it during the summer months if we need it.
Right. All right. Any other questions on that one? We ready for the superintendent report?
are you leaving?
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna have a quick question, please, on the
Alright.
old business before you leave. The reference call with Portsmouth for the new software.
in the last meeting?
I have not had a chance to
Okay.
call them.
Just want to remind you. We just want to compare models, right? You know, what's their impression of the software?
If they decided to.
Well, I would call them anyway and basically say, what's your concern about the software? What's your concern about the supplier? What do you think is, great? What about the software? What about the supplier? I'd be curious if they have an escrow agreement with them or not. I know that we didn't agree on that, but, and I know, like I said, the answer I think was very superficial. I would, as City of Portsmouth, if they don't bank on any guarantees with a crucial infrastructure critical vendor like that, I'd be very, very surprised.
That's a good question.
So,
Yeah.
With Continental Utility or UMS either.
what's that?
We didn't with Continental Utility and UMS either.
Doesn't mean that was right.
All right,
so-
I have a call to see if
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
even made their choice.
Yeah.
But as I
So-
said, they were trying to do it for everything, not just water.
Right, even more so is for me an argument. If I was the mayor of Portsmouth, I would ask that question: what about escrow, and what about any bonding? If this business goes belly up or doesn't deliver on, in a functional piece of software, the whole city of Portsmouth might run dry and overrun with trash and sewer water. So I would certainly ask that question. And I just didn't like the answer. It was very, very dismissive and it was factually incorrect. It was an answer that I, from firsthand experience, don't agree with. And I was not working in the same critical infrastructure than public utility software. So I'd just be curious what they say.
Okay.
Any other questions for Kristen while she's here?
Yes, the fund balance conversion policy we talked about last time. I didn't see anything in the minute and I really didn't recall. Did we agree on asking for a draft for that, or?
We didn't ask for a draft. We just talked about it being, it's at the end of the minutes, I think, towards the end of the minute.
I was trying to find it, but
Yeah, page 12.
I don't think it specifically said we're asking for a draft.
We did not specifically ask.
Yeah, I don't think
We did.
it did.
Do we?
I thought that's because we saw them doing fund balance policy because
That was part of
this
it.
is based on the CIP, it's not based on the formula.
Well, the policy would be saying then that, right? But I thought that we had agreed that it's maybe not always that, but I'm just not sure where we left that off. I think it kind of trailed off a little bit, open-ended.
How do we?
In terms of what to transfer towards the trust, you mean?
Do we want a policy? Do we need a policy? Do we feel it's not necessary? I think it trailed off a little bit last time.
I think it was based on that recommendation from Underwood's rate study, right? Is that what we concluded? I don't know if that's like a policy that we would normally follow. If you want to make it a policy, or if there's something else that we
the
want.
idea, I
It's
think,
written into your overall report you get, how much you should be putting away into
Right.
your trust for your future endeavors,
which is based off the study.
which is based on
Okay.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it was really more of an optics thing than anything because of all the questions that we were getting at the annual meeting, and it sounded like we got the same questions last year.
Right, and the year prior.
So having that document to say, this is why we do it, and this is how it's done. Obviously you can still question
Which I
it, but
tried to put as much information this year, we can add more for next year also.
which when they do a rate study again, that's gonna be one of their additional recommendations, is that number still valid? Is it
It may be more.
too high, is it too low?
Right out of the report that explains what this number is, use that and then have a fill in the blank.
You took it right off of the CIP and
Yeah.
the report, I think.
I did a blurb on one of them, was off of the rate study that said,
Was it in there? All right, because I was gonna say, that's a good
but
source
I
to
gave,
cite.
it
at
kind
the
of went
annual
from
meeting.
no information to a lot. So
Got it.
it wasn't kind of an in-between for
Yeah.
people to get used to, hey, she's gonna give us something else. I kind of threw everything all at once. So it may have gotten hidden.
so do you want to ask for a draft for next meeting or in 2 months or?
I personally think it would be nice to have, like you said, the optics are better, it's cleaner, it's more professional, it's not something we just agree here, it's out there, right? And we can refer to it when people are concerned about it. But
So trust-
also not
trust
mission
warrant.
critical. But the question is, am I the only one that's looking
Policy?
forward to have that? If so, then skip it. Is anybody else interested in that policy, or do we like not need it?
I mean,
Policy on the,
Determination of the
well, it's not even surplus, because it's.
no, it's
factored
unassigned.
in.
It's unassigned
So
fund
it's-
balance.
Yeah.
Right, conversion of
So trust warrant policy from previous years.
unassigned fund balance into capital reserve.
so you'd be basically just kind of saying what's in the rate study report, and that you could pull wording out of that
As
to make the
recommended,
fund,
but
this
put something in the fact
policy,
that
right?
the board has a decision to either increase or decrease.
Right, yeah, absolutely. That
recommended
should be
amount.
right.
Yeah. I'd be all right with
I
that.
mean, since we're doing this every year, right? I think things that are being done every year, right, on a reviewed and assessed on a basis, and that actually lead into a warrant article, I think would be nice to have defined on the policy instead of just being arbitrarily done every year.
And then-
That's kind of my argument.
The warrant based, we worded it based on our policy, MVD policy,
Right.
based on, or based on the
Yeah.
policy.
Yeah.
yada,
As
yada,
part
yada.
of the warrant
Yeah.
article,
Yeah.
which makes it even.
Yeah, it would
more
firm it up,
defined.
right? Yeah. It's a good idea.
I'm trying to come up
Okay.
with something.
All right, thank you. And the last,
Did you get a response from everyone from your email?
not yet.
No, I sent another one today.
Oh, yeah.
And I put it on my calendar with a hard date.
And one last one quick, the 529 CSAR review. Is that firm? Is that 529?
Yes.
It is. Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get or I didn't get the invite until when I asked for it 2 days ago, so. Well, I don't want to criticize anybody, but fact of the matter is I'm now not available that day, which is kind of a bummer. I would have loved to be there. I don't know. Are you gonna be available or not really? You will be. Okay, then we're good.
I didn't.
Don't worry about it.
I didn't give
I just want to make it known I would
But
have
the
loved
point
to
of his
be there, and I
question, yeah.
apologize I can't because it
No,
just.
I
didn't come in my calendar.
apologize. I
No, don't worry about it.
announced it a couple times. Everybody's welcome. Anybody that wants to come is more than welcome. And that's going to be in my, well, don't need to mention it now because it's.
We're totally doing
saying
this
it's
report.
If he's there, that's.
You know, I'm just
fine.
right now. It happens every month.
I just want to make sure one of us is
Fine.
between him and is present
No,
because
we had already-
we feel this is a
Did
pretty
you-
important one for. Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay,
Great.
I'm done. Thank you.
All right. We're free to go.
Thanks.
All right, if there's anything left in the superintendent's report that you haven't talked about.
So on the treatment facilities, the cleaning and surging of wells 7 and 8 are complete and they're operational. Everything's been completed. Excited because it's actually ahead of schedule. Usually we're up against Memorial Day. They're all done, up and running. The media removal is scheduled for the 28th at blocks 2 and 9 treatment facility and returning on June 10th with the regen and the makeup media coming back on June 10th. And then they're gonna go back over to 4 and 5 that day and remove it from there. And return back on the 24th. And again, if anybody wants to see that, they're gonna be that morning, so the
What date is that, please? I'm sorry.
Wednesday, the 28th, next Wednesday.
And which well? I'm sorry.
That's gonna be at 2 and 9.
Was that probably in the morning, right?
Yeah, they'll probably come out Tuesday night. They'll probably stage out somewhere. 2 and 9 is difficult. Well, these guys, they'll stay at a hotel somewhere and then they'll let them in the morning. But
Yeah.
If it's one driver and it's usually one from their company and maybe a contract driver. The contract driver sometimes will stay on site, but they'll like 4 and 5 is fine. They're far enough away that they'll they'll, sleep in the truck, and they'll idle the truck over its neighborhood so that it gets noisy.
Oh, yeah.
So they'll stay at Burger King or something, or somewhere that they can idle. Being in the neighborhood, I'll get complaints, so.
Yeah.
I don't let 'em
Yeah.
go over 2 and 9, but for the distribution system, the annual flushing of hydrants, it's just about done. The regular pressure zone is just about done. Probably about a week or so until it's complete. Townwide has a mitigation plan update. We had our first meeting on May 8th. The plan is they plan on completing the plan in 4 meetings. The next meeting is July 10th. PFAS water main extension. Gerard Mulliken bid opening. We just had it on 5/15 last Thursday. There were 3 bids. All bids were below the engineering estimated bid cost estimate was.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was the cost estimate was 1.544. So it was below that. So we're excited it was on that. So they're still looking at going over the bids and stuff. So I don't have the final, but it looked like it was Grenice, I believe. It was a low bid. The Farmer and Mason PFAS water main extension project, we're addressing the DS and town comments and hopefully getting those back to the state, and we'll bid that pretty soon as well.
So that one's a little behind the other one then,
Yeah.
time-wise.
Purposely. So we
Purposely,
can roll one into the other one, and if we get the same contractor on both, we could have some cost savings there.
Oh, okay.
hopefully we'll get that out to bid as well soon. PFAS water main extensions, the St. Cobain stuff, that's, last I knew they were just finishing up on the paving stuff, so that's pretty much all complete. May 29th is the CISA walkthrough. Again, everybody, that's gonna be at 9:30 in the morning, and all is welcome for that. Lastly, Brandon Kiernan came down on Friday and delivered our Excellence in Funding Award that John McKenna accepted for us on 423 in Washington, DC. The MVD 2, 3, 7, and 8 PFAS and iron and manganese treatment project was selected to receive the Excellence in Innovative Financing recognition for the 2025 Aquarius program. Only 1 submission per state was allowed out of the 16 state entries to be nominated for the 2025 Aquarius. Only 5 were selected as exceptional projects. They took some pictures down at 2 and 9 and
Good. Yeah.
Like that, we get an EPA award.
Hmm. Nice.
Hold it in the camera. You should pose with it, so.
yeah,
EPA award for MVD. Nice.
So,
we'll probably do a press release as well.
yeah, that would be good.
Some DES.
Would be good.
Do you want to, just one thing you said, all are welcome. The scope of all means all here.
All the board, not.
Sorry, public is not welcome.
Yes, right.
It might go in the notes and
Yeah.
the meeting's going to be published, so. it's,
Yes,
yeah.
thank you for that.
The only question I had is the pilot test still running okay?
Yes,
And
yes.
no surprises or anything there or nothing yet? I know the first sample was collected last month or something.
We did get 2 under a belt.
Okay, yeah. Good. How's the funding from EPA gonna be on that? Are they gonna just fund at the back end of this, and are we fronting the money or?
Everything. They send us the bottles, they send us the shipping.
Oh, they do.
They pay for it. And
So we don't even get a bill or
no,
nothing?
we don't pay for any of the samples either.
Oh, wow.
I schedule a pickup with Alpha, our old lab.
Oh, that's great.
Nick brings them everything here, schedule the pickup, they pick them up, and that's it.
I was kind of curious how that was gonna unfold, so good. That's
We
probably
still
the
get all the
best.
results right away, right?
We're getting them.
Okay, so it's not like they go behind EPA and then we get them later.
No, but the EPA wanted to QC them first before they would release them. And we talked them into not doing that and just considering them draft until they are QC, but getting them right over Underwood so they can, by the time we're getting them, it's the next round is coming out. You can't get past that date either.
Oh, yeah, because we got the 25-50% ports on all those that we have to kind of make sure we're sampling the right ones, right?
There's 3 of them on each of them.
Yeah, all right. Well, good. All right, so I guess we can move on. We're in the minutes review. So the first one is the non-public of April 21st, meeting minutes. That's a short one pager. And we also have the public minutes for April 21st.
I have minor comments on that one, so I'm gonna make a motion to approve the April 21st non-public minutes as presented.
Yep.
Second.
Motion by Wolf, second by Dan. Any other comments or questions or anything? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No oppositions or abstentions, 5-0-0. So the April 21st regular meeting minutes. I don't know if we need to change the minutes, but on page, the first page of the right under capital reserve balance, there's the acronym of MSR. I wasn't sure what that stood for. You guys know? It says our MSR net position is roughly 22 million. Must be well, maybe it does need it to be specified if no one else knows what MSR stands for. Which it's the fund, our MSR net position is roughly 22 million. It's on line 42.
I think it's the unassigned net position. I don't know what MSR is, but
Yeah, I'm not sure either. You know what, maybe ask, Krista would probably, she's the one that probably said it. Probably shouldn't make that change in there, just so we know what MSR is.
Sounds right, but I'm trying to.
22 million sounds familiar, so I don't know if it's
yeah,
on.
that's like usually our unassigned.
MSR says mortgage servicing rights.
No. All right, well,
Want to confuse somebody, use an acronym.
yeah,
Just prove that right. So yeah,
because there's the other places in here that it does say like post-employment benefit liability, and then it's an acronym follows it, New Hampshire Retirement System, and the acronym follows it. So it'd probably be good to put in what the MSR is here in that.
Yeah.
So I guess I would recommend revising the minutes for that. I think that was all I had on that one. Did you have some you said, Wolf?
yeah, it's just minor ones. So page 6, line 14, where we're talking about the financial transactions between the new software and existing software, they somehow need to make it back is missing. They somehow need to make it back into finance. Not just they somehow need to back into finance. So add make it, and then same page, line 26. Some companies either have source code for clients to receive, or they guarantee a certain amount of money they are bonded for, I guess, so they can survive another year and help customers migrate to another product. So the about should be at least amount, should be changed to amount.
Good eye. It's hit with that draft A.
Yeah. In I think page 7, line 7 is maybe I worded it like that. If I did, then shame on me. For some of the recent apartment buildings, we have permitted without a certain level of irrigation. That's kind of worded backwards. What we really have done, we have permitted with only a limited amount of irrigation. I think it's a better way more clear way to word that.
Sorry,
Yeah, it's page 7.
Yep.
Page 7, line 7.
Okay.
And I'm starting line 6 at the end. For some of the recent apartment buildings, we have permitted with only a certain amount of irrigation, not without a certain level. They both kind of mean the same thing, but the one is
Like
backwards.
double negative. type
Right,
thing or something.
exactly. What I was trying to say there is, like the apartment buildings, they're usually not permitted right now to irrigate all their lawn and, greenery and whatnot, areas, but only usually the shrubbery, for example, right in front of the building. That's about it.
Can I jump in while we're here on the very paragraph above that? It said business manager Lavoie noted there is a historical trending graph currently on the website. Is that on mvdwater.org or is that on my MVD?
My MVD.
Okay.
Per account.
I just wasn't sure. I just asking. I don't think you need to change minutes. I just didn't. That's good. I didn't know I had that. Sorry.
Oh, all good. I didn't know that either, but she did mention that. I don't pay the bills usually at home.
No, me either.
I don't know this stuff. I'm good.
One. Page 11, line 28. Trying to go back to the conversation here. It says Commissioner Sabins added Underwood typically has an eye on it throughout the year. I don't want to take credit for that because I wouldn't know that. So I'm not sure what we're talking about.
What is it? Page 11.
Page 11, line 28. I don't think that was me.
Do you want to just take that from Commissioner Sabins through the end out? Or just that one sentence?
I'm just trying to go back and remember the context on this one. So this is back to the rate study.
Why don't we just say it was stated that Underwood typically has an eye on it throughout the year
That's fine.
instead of Commissioner Sabins? I'll make a motion to approve those minutes as presented and adjusted.
Second.
Okay, motion by Wolf, second by Scott. Any comments, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, 500. I just, while we're here, I just had some questions to follow up on some of these in the minutes. On page 7, my line numbers are a little messed up, but it was it's right above the superintendent report. It said a request was made for contracts to be placed in the SharePoint for review. I've sent an Oracle contracts, I think.
Yep.
Is that done?
Yep.
All right.
Mhm.
I didn't know if that was that was there. A little further on, let's see. Oh yeah, I was just gonna ask about what happened to did the Army Corps come and visit? Did they make it here?
So apparently.
What was that all about?
Wastewater that they were concerned with. So they had us confused with wastewater, but they wouldn't visit wastewater. They never visited us and.
Okay.
So they called in and they were on their way to Merrimack, and so we're looking to
Wastewater.
6 Mast Road.
It's not us. Yeah.
So when I called them back, they were basically like, that's what we were told, your number, so I gave them a number to wastewater. And then the original gentleman that called in and said that the Army Corps was gonna call, I called him back, because it was still in the middle of that week. They were gonna train the exercises on, and said, is there something that's actually ours that you wanna look at? And I never heard back from him. And then I saw them on WMUR.
Okay.
The Army Corps of Engineers doing their,
I just was curious what they were up to, really.
We're
So.
good.
All right, that works. News is good news. All right, so that's all we have for the minutes, right? No more other minutes than that. So now we're in the action items.
I want to start with number 90 since feels good a time constraint.
Sure.
oh, yeah,
Solar options, solar power.
yeah, we're still working on it. So we get some information in that Ron, Ryan and I need to sit down together and look at. Last week,
All right,
but other than that,
so we'll keep that monthly as it's on here. Anything else we see? I know Jill's heading out soon.
thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
Wasn't watching the time myself.
All right, if not, we'll just go down the list. I think the first one for this month is number 23, and you do have the PFAS in the distribution system, the reports in the back. I'm gonna mention something under new business later about that one,
Talking about PFBA then?
PFBA.
Are we talking about that on the new business?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna bring that up, yeah.
Okay.
All right, number 43 is the SALT committee meeting. That's probably something that you might be in the middle of setting up the SALT
Yeah,
meeting
we're waiting
again.
on Jamie's schedule.
Okay.
Because, he was away out of town for 2 weeks, and then when we came back, he was gonna get that set up.
Okay,
I'm getting a little bit concerned about that. It seems like there's a couple of things we're waiting on Emery and Garrett now.
we are, yeah.
And it's been like that for a while. It seems to get worse when I hear it takes us I mean, it sounds like it's gonna be almost a year between ordering a pump test for Mitchell Woods and getting it when I hear later this summer or maybe.
I
if it's
know
that
Ryan's
long.
working on that.
So I'm kind of worried about that
Ryan and Dan take them.
because we need data to make decisions, right?
Yeah.
And when it seems like we haven't really,
He's planning on being at the June meeting,
okay,
That's
for
good.
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, tell him we look forward to seeing him.
Actually, I would go further and say who, Jamie or?
Jamie.
Yeah, I would go further and maybe have a word with him and say, hey, what's the plan moving forward? Is there another contact person aside from you if we're not able to?
Yeah,
No,
if he's
I mean,
spending less time.
What's the succession
Yeah, that's a
plan
good
with
point.
you? I think that would be good to present to us at the next meeting.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jill. So Dawn, yeah, going back to number 23, I changed that last month from May to quarterlies, right? So June, July, it'll be August.
Okay.
Number 43 is a monthly thing, so we'll leave that as is. Next item for May is on number 67, the SALT signs. I guess we're probably gonna wait till we have the meeting, committee meeting first to discuss that. So why don't we put that May off until, well, we're probably not gonna have, I don't know. Let's make that June, number 67, in case we do have a SALT meeting before the next June meeting.
Okay.
Number 79 is monthly, and you already did the water line extensions.
Can we-
Yeah.
Can we maybe scratch that since you now have that on your supervisor report monthly?
Probably could.
That saves us a little bit of time in the meeting, as long as you remember.
Yeah.
You okay with that?
Yeah, as long as he remembers.
Which one? 79?
79.
79.
Leave it on, I don't care. It's on there, just.
Yeah, okay,
monthly,
okay.
just leave it monthly, then we don't have to keep changing the dates and.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, let's leave it.
As far as the salt sign,
Yeah.
I do plan on talking to Paul here one of these days. I know he's been kind of busy lately.
About where they came from? Where the signs came from?
I know, I wanna kind of get a bug in his ear to try to get
Get him to advocate?
a whole of DOT to kind of get a meeting together sooner than later to get, they do need a meeting between DOT and the town to get that kind of in motion, to get, remember they need another meeting to kind of get the finalized, to switch to the.
To actually officially accept the roads as low salt or
Yes.
whatever, yeah.
I want to kind of get that in motion now more than waiting
Yeah.
until October, November.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, before they start using it, it should be designated,
That's what we kind of got to get going so they can move the signs.
right? Okay, that's good. Where were we? 79, we already hit that. 88, the pilot testing, I think we already talked about that. 90, solar power, yeah, we did that just a few minutes ago. Those are all monthly, so they can stay monthly. Water line extension for St. Cobain's on 95, that's monthly, that was in your report. Number 98, Mitchell Woods, I think we kind of talked about that earlier.
I would put that to July, or well, actually, we have Emery and Garrett here, maybe June then.
Yeah, yeah, it was, oh yeah, it says and power supply, so it includes the pump test and power supply.
That's not Emery and Garrett. That's
No.
That's Underwood.
The pump
Right,
test
but
is
the
there,
pump test is
yeah,
not
the
there.
power supply is not them, but
And that's one of those things that I do ask Peter about, and we just keep,
yeah.
and I'll get back on him again.
I've heard from other communities that they're underwater.
Maybe we need to start looking for
And
alternatives.
they're having problems getting timely stuff from Underwood.
Oh,
So I'm not surprised to hear it. Disappointed, but not surprised.
so let's change 98 to June, because at least it'll
Mhm.
remind us to get an update from Jamie on the pump test anyways.
So back to what you just said, what are our options? Otherwise,
For engineering.
I don't know.
I don't know that we have a lot of engineering on the docket right now, do we?
So,
I think a lot of it's like, like the pump test, but I don't think we have a lot of hot projects on the
some
thing.
DOT stuff, but
I think it's minor
the little
little
things.
stuff right now.
They're doing our water main extension projects, stuff like
Right.
that. That seems to be progressing okay. That's not slowing down.
Maybe what you're saying is
He's doing the larger project.
if we have new work that we would want them involved in it, that might be tough, maybe.
Right. Yeah, like if we
I
had a
think
new big project, it might be something we want to explore.
About 2 years ago, I brought up, and I like both companies, and I really like Underwood and how they've been treating us, and I think they're very fair. I think they're very reasonable, but it is a business continuity concern that we have no alternatives, right? If something, God beware, bad was happening to that company or the key individuals that we work with, we could be in really trouble. We could really be in trouble, right? And it would be nice to have some alternatives lined up. So,
I don't think it's really hard to get an alternative. I mean, you just put an RFP
yeah,
out
but we
and
haven't done this in a long
Right,
time,
I mean-
specifically not for the smaller projects, right?
Yeah,
And some of the
it's-
smaller projects might not be efficient because they might not have the data, but realistically, I would assume that the Underwood data is our data, not theirs,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
right. And you could put an
So-
engineering on-call out
Right.
pretty simply and find an alternative to, another option, if you will.
I would even go further and say we should start establishing relationships with possible contenders to get a feel for it, right?
How do you do that, though? How are you gonna
You call them up.
talk to someone? And I don't want to pay them to talk to us.
No, I don't think we have to.
I don't
mean,
know that
it's-
anyone's gonna talk to us if they're busy doing work and they're not gonna get paid. And they know,
I've-
I just don't
mean,
see how that,
Yeah,
in my profession, I don't see that happening.
I've done work
Go to
with
the-
other
Right.
years. I've done work with other different companies on other projects. So it's not like I don't know other.
I mean, I don't know if you want to poll around who has time if we have a
if-
project. I don't think anybody's gonna call us back.
If you needed a list, I could give you a list. There's a name I have to cross off the list. But we agreed, my company is off your list, but I mean, getting a list together if we wanted something, it's just, if we had work in the next year or so, putting out an engineering on-call,
Right.
is a great thing to do, because that basically says we want someone in the corral. We're not guaranteeing you work, but we have upcoming projects. But as we sit right now, we have some in-process stuff. We don't really have a good, hey, we want to do this and this is the date we want to do
You're
it.
talking about MVD?
Yes.
Okay,
So I wouldn't put out an on-call now,
right.
but it's something definitely if we have something big that comes up in the future that we want to do, I think it, and we want
Is
to.
that a real thing? Like, do people call you, the company you work for, and say,
Well, we usually we respond to on-call all the time. Like a town will say, hey, we want some engineering services. We're interested in water, sewer, roadway, and
like an RFP?
An RFP.
Specific project?
just put out an RFP, and it's
yeah.
called engineering on-call. And it basically doesn't say this is the project we have. It's basically, hey, we want to interview engineers, and then we want
Right.
your
Yeah, for sure.
prices and who would work on our projects,
Right.
and do interviews. And then basically you're saying for the next 2 years or something, you're the guy that gets the new work.
And when does that typically happen?
Whenever you want as a utility community,
Yep.
something. In fact, we were gonna do it the other day for a town in the Seacoast region. And we were getting ready to put the proposal together, and the public works director said, oh, sorry. They just re-upped our other engineer for another year. So we don't really need, this RFP is,
Oh, yeah.
don't cross it out now, don't put work into it. But communities do it all the time. And then I have communities that have had the same engineers doing the same work since the late 80s. So it's basically
Right.
whenever we want.
So basically, from a business continuity standpoint, the idea is to have what you just said, Aaron, in a plan.
Well, it's not, but it's not really a plan, because continuity is you're not going to take your open projects and pull them from Underwood and give them to the new engineer unless you were saying, hey, we're cutting ties. Continuity would be like, hey, we decided we're going to go after this other source, so we're going to get, and it doesn't mean that Underwood couldn't put in a proposal for the on-call to get it again, or to, do future work. It's just saying, hey, we're gonna go out and see what's available. And, do interviews, and then we'll award work for the next, usually they'll say like the next 2 years or something. And so any new projects that come down the pike into the next 2 years, you would go to that on-call. Or you could say, hey, we have this coming up, and just bid out that project and request proposals on that one project. So it's kind of how you want to do it. But the way we operate with Underwood is basically like an on-call. Like, hey, we want this done,
Right.
great, you do it. Or saying, when we're doing the rate study, if we didn't want to use Underwood, or we wanted to see who else was available to do rate study, we could put out an RFP for just the rate study. And then we would get proposals and numbers from engineers saying, hey, we could do your rate study. This is who would work on it. This is what it would cost.
Right. Continuity is making sure that you're able to continue doing business.
Right.
So if there's engineering tasks that we need, it sounded like there's not anything pressing, so there's no issue there. But if there were,
And there is
you
really.
mentioned that there's a slow response there,
Right.
so that could affect our business, right?
It could affect our business. And so if we,
Plan,
right,
the business continuity plan, BCP, that is all it is.
right. But as engineers, we just don't,
You don't document anything, yes, engineers.
we do document things, not to the level of that, but yeah. So it just depends how you want to do it.
Right.
And we decide how long we do it, and for, when we want to put it out, and,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
It sounds like, there's a process, and that's good.
I'm very familiar with the process from the other side, and, if we wanted to draft something, that's very easy to do. I have lots of examples.
What were the projects that were slow responses? Were they treatment plant projects, or were they?
It was for a water and sewer utility in towns smaller than ours. And someone on the Water and Sewer Commission I had a conversation because he was an old colleague, and he was just like, Yeah, are you guys having issues with it? Cause he's like, we're getting really slow responses that we haven't gotten in a long time.
For me, for example, the Mitchell Woods pump test, we talked about that, 3 months ago? And now we're talking,
Probably more.
I mean, we don't even have a date, what I'm hearing, right? And we may have some loose commitment to late summer or later this year.
See, I don't remember what,
Pump test, that's a different,
the pump test wasn't,
that's.
Underwood, it
different
was-
Company.
it was.
No, I know.
Emery
I'm talking about both companies.
I just don't
I'm talking about
remember
both
what,
companies.
I remember when we had the pump test discussion, it wasn't like it was happening next week. It
It
was,
wasn't, I know, it was.
but I don't remember what the time
I
frame
don't
was.
either. But he's been doing other work with us. He does monitoring wells, he's. Test
Right,
wells.
but meanwhile-
But that was planned.
Right.
And again, I don't remember when I'm on the same.
I don't
I think it
remember.
was,
That was the re-permitting thing, right?
And if you
been like
look
3
back at
months.
minutes or something and told me it was supposed to be this fall, I wouldn't even blink an eye because I like literally don't remember.
right, it was probably planned, it could be planned for summer. I think he had a date that he was gonna do it.
It's my own frustration, but for me, Richard Woods has been regurgitated until the cows come home, frankly.
But I feel
and
like
it's-
that's us because we put it on hold. So I feel like putting someone on like saying that, they're not really responsive, we've put it on hold.
But
And
that's
then
only
we put it on
partially
hold
true.
totally. And then they came back and said,
We have
hey,
to re-permit.
for the permit, we need to do this pump test. Do you want to do it or do you want to let it go? And we had that discussion
Well,
and
this was an
said,
extra pump test.
Right.
Because of the PFAS.
Right.
we
I don't
would
think-
do it. So they
It was
brought
on
it to us after we put it on hold and said, hey, do you want to do this pump test? We think it would be good information. And we said, yes.
But should we, as business professionals, be satisfied with a 9 months lead time for a pump test? Pump test we can probably outsource to 10 companies in the surrounding 300 miles.
I guess.
I'm just not sure if I
I don't
agree
know
with
that
that.
it's behind. I don't have enough information to say that it
I'm not
should.
saying it's behind, but should we is it okay with us to wait for 9 months to be able to make decisions? And I believe it's not satisfying.
What I'm saying is, I think when we were sitting here, I think he was saying, I think he came back with. I can't say when he wanted to do it. I think he was, and I can't say he's behind. It seemed like it was out of ways. I want to say it was in the summertime or whenever he wanted to do it. That's when he was going to do it. I think we're all fine with it at the time.
Right.
Well, we should get clarity on it next month if Jamie,
Absolutely.
Hands on being
I
here.
wasn't
yeah.
Okay.
But in general,
expecting the question when it was going to be and.
Yeah. I guess what I see is Underwood and Emery and Garrett are doing like the ongoing projects for us.
Yes.
And I don't think that they're late on, well, the pump test, but on the other stuff, like Underwood's doing the water line stuff and all that. I mean, we're getting information on that. They're,
Yeah, the water line projects seem to be moving right along.
Yeah.
and they're graphing the PFAS and that type of stuff. But it is like if we had a new engineering project that we wanted to make a decision on, which I don't think we will in 2 years, in over a year and a half. I don't see us doing any significant engineering in a year and a half on new sources anyway.
I guess my point is we have a couple options on the table, Mitchell Woods being one of them.
Yeah.
And we keep beating that dead horse, in my opinion, dead horse. And I think we could take it off the list now if we had certain information that we have a feeling is going to come up back in a certain way, meaning it's going to have PFAS, meaning it's going to be too expensive to run power to it. Then why even continue talking about it? I just want to reduce that list so we're done with that. And again, I know I'm showing a little bit of frustration, but it's been at this in limbo status now for I don't know how many years. And it's been there. And, we're kind of ape hanging from tree to tree, from branch to branch. And there's always another reason why we don't put that nail coffin.
But I feel like that's our fault, not
The power,
because we still
so the power issue.
because we want to see everything.
To get specific,
Hmm.
Peter confirmed, maybe even twice, you can run single phase power over there off of Mitchell Street and invert it into 3-phase.
Yes.
I don't know if you were here for that meeting.
I did hear that. What I didn't
I don't
hear
know the
is it
cost of
efficient?
it though. Yeah,
Right,
I
and
don't
is it
know.
efficient to do that? And you also have an amperage problem doing that. You can do it, but you have an amperage limitation then.
There may be
So-
a maximum motor size that you can.
But he was gonna check with,
Thought he said we can do it. Saudi,
with.
Saudi or whatever the guy's name is.
Electrical engineer for
Yeah.
something, and I do ask him, it was a question I was gonna ask.
So there's
him
still an outstanding
about. It
question
was a
there?
I
question
think
or
it
something.
is.
I thought, but then he kept saying, well, I thought I answered that. I said, what, but I think
Because-
there's another question.
Yeah.
And we kind of go back and forth, but we just haven't connected. And he was gonna send me something, and we've been back and forth, but.
I thought you could invert single phase up to a certain horsepower.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, did he size a pump to know what the horsepower is, to know if we can invert the power to that
Right.
horsepower?
Exactly.
That's what we need to know. Maybe that's the question we need to know.
It just seems to, it used to be a little bit more formal. Maybe that's my frustration. Right now, there seems to be a lot of, throwing comments and little emails over the fence, and that's the end of it. We used to have them here regularly. We would have, agenda items, we would have a rundown, this is where we stand, these are what the concerns are. We just don't seem to have that level of engagement anymore. And
Yeah.
it seems to make it less efficient. Maybe that's a better way to word my frustration.
So do you want to, when is the re-permitting required?
We did that already.
It wasn't a re-permitting, so we've been permitted,
It was a renewal?
it wasn't a renewal, it was a,
Certification? So there was something where it was cheaper to do like
Yeah.
iterative update versus letting it lapse and having to redo
I think
it.
this is the problem with not having them here all the time, is we forget the status of things
Yeah.
and then we spin in circles, try to remember what it was. and-
Little bit.
yeah.
I just recall asking that quite like,
Is it a 5-year permit?
I think we're good on the permit. But now it's,
Hydraulically, didn't we have to?
There was some PFAS that came up.
it's the PFAS deal now, so
Right.
it's going forward with the pump test to see if it wasn't in the well, but do we want to do the pump test to kind of confirm about the
If
PFAS?
we start pumping it.
Now, the whole lawsuit with in the Saint Cobain and the groundwater management zone. How far do we want to take this now?
right, so I
That's
guess
where we're at.
you want a date, right? Like, when are we gonna have these results? So can we get a date?
Eventually, at the next meeting would be fine to have a little bit of a game plan, right? And have clarity when do we get what, right? And
Absolutely.
and if there's concerns as far as the legal proceedings goes, then we should have that conversation also. And maybe put it on hold, right? But it seems like,
Or advance it.
Or
if we
advance
want to
it.
include it.
right? Yeah.
And then make sure that whoever's doing that testing, it's Underwood, I assume, doing the testing.
No,
no,
That's
Emery
Emery
and Garrett.
Garrett.
All right,
So that, yeah,
So whoever's doing the testing.
back and forth with the two.
making sure that whoever has it, that where it sits on our priority list
Right.
of things that we have for them to do, and that it's appropriately allocated.
I feel like if you have to build it, it's Underwood. If it's flowing naturally through the ground, it's Emery and Garrett.
Okay,
Right. Pretty much.
Pretty much,
Pretty much how I think about it.
all right.
Pretty much it.
pretty much true.
Mechanical stuff is Underwood.
Yeah.
Hydrogeo stuff is.
I only know because
Emery
I can
Garrett.
do the Underwood stuff. Emery and get what they do. It's like witchcraft. I got nothing.
So anyway, it sounds like an action for next month.
Thanks for listening.
All right. So we can move on then, or
Yep.
everybody good? That was number 98. So what do we decide to do for 98? We'll make that June, I think we said.
Yeah.
For 99, hydraulic model. What is that?
That was the presentation they came in, right? And we had asked them to kind of clarify some of the information on.
Maybe we could bring that up
There
when we
was-
talk to them in June.
There were some comments on the charts that didn't seem to make sense. For example, there was a section of piping that seemed to indicate that was bracketed by a certain parameter, and in between it had a different parameter.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
Is it pressure or something, or aging of the
Oh,
water in the line? But was the one continuous line of water
But then this new unaccounted for water, there was something in one of the graphs, I think, or tables that was messed up there. But again, we're waiting so long to get results that we're forgetting what we asked for.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically, there seem to be some inconsistencies in the chart.
I
That
can
didn't
have
seem to make
Keith
sense.
Do a meeting.
Yeah.
I think that would.
Yeah. And it probably would be good if he listens to this meeting and the meeting where he'd held that presentation to make sure we follow up on that.
Or we just go back and watch it.
And I would probably make a change to 99 to remind us, clarify perceived inconsistencies of the updated distribution hydraulic model. Because that's what this is about. They did the update of the model, but the updates seem to have inconsistencies that we want to have clarifications on.
So clarify distribution hydraulic model, maybe?
Clarify perceived inconsistencies, because we don't know if they're really inconsistent, but they look like it.
So what do you want Dawn to change to?
Yeah, like I
change the
said,
word updated to,
No, I would say,
think that's what we want to, it was we're referring to that.
Those maps.
the maps.
The maps, let's say maps instead of the model, because the
The model is a living being.
Okay.
Yes,
The maps
All right.
are
the model.
picture.
As far as I'm concerned, the model is complete, because that was updated. We did calibrations for it, I can remember going out.
yeah,
Well, plus also this is for unaccounted water, so I'm actually not even truthful here. 99 specifically refers to the unaccounted water.
Yes, but instead of model, let's say, the distribution model, maybe maps in
Maps.
parentheses, or
It needs to be a new action item, actually.
Yeah,
It needs to be a new action item. I would not touch this one.
yeah.
So we need a new one that says, Underwood to clarify perceived inconsistencies of the
maps.
hydraulic model maps.
Got it.
When was that? February meeting or something like that?
Yeah, it was a few months back.
Sorry about that. But on 99, we actually haven't had an update on the unaccounted water in a while. Have we? Or was that part of that meeting too?
That was part of that
part of that
part
meeting.
of that meeting.
So that's actually then closed, so we could technically close this one.
All right,
Maybe we should just talk to Underwood and then close it.
We can do that too.
so you want to have Keith come in next month?
I think I'm gonna have Keith, yeah.
Yeah.
You think he's gonna be able to accommodate?
Well, let's,
See how that
the
goes?
plan would be to have him come in, let's talk to him
Right.
and see what his schedule looks like.
Yeah.
So let's just leave 99 as it is. We'll change it to June. Want to see what happens next month about if we might not need another action item.
I think she already added it anyway.
All right. So the number 100 is, I think we already touched that in the,
I have one on that one. And I'm gonna be cryptic about it because that's critical infrastructure. I would like to hear who's working on discussing with our IT service provider, with our MSP, the virtualization. The virtualization of that machine in that closet. The server virtualization, is that something we should be looking at or not?
Okay.
That's a discussion we should be having with our MSP, with Bug 5. I'm still a little bit shocked, to be honest, that we have a singular point of failure for a critical piece of infrastructure right now in place. So we need to talk about that.
Okay,
I'll send you a note.
yes, that's not an action item on this, right?
No, it's not. It's part of that action item, but
All right,
We
so.
probably need to think into, it doesn't make sense to even have that on here because this should probably be non-public discussions period. So we might as well take this off and just,
You want to retire number 100 then?
we almost have to have,
I mean, these seem to always be non-public anyways.
we almost have to have a discussion about how to handle this part of the meeting going forward. Because this is gonna be more in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna get any updates in this meeting on that.
I will say, the other board that I'm on, we always have a non-public on our agenda at the end of the meeting for like staffing issues or something like that. So maybe it's something we should add to our agenda for the end of the meeting.
I think going forward, that's a good idea, especially knowing that we have CISA coming in next week.
Mhm.
So we can discuss
Yeah.
that. I just, how big's the invite list for next month so far?
Well,
Is it just Keith?
All of Merrimack.
Yeah, I know, I just didn't know how long it was gonna run, so,
So yeah, and then, I mean, if there's not a lot to update, then we
yeah.
don't really have to use it, but if there is, then it's there.
So Kristen, myself, Jill, Brian, I think I said it's Richard. I can't remember.
Oh, for next week, you mean?
Yeah,
No, I meant for next month's board meeting,
oh.
just to make sure the agenda wasn't too long, so we weren't here at 10
geez,
o'clock at night.
You know, I don't know.
Where's your sense of adventure, Scott?
I won't know that till next Thursday.
10 o'clock, I'm out, okay. All right, I just
Next
didn't know
Wednesday.
if we were building out like a large agenda already for
Yeah.
this meeting, for the June meeting to talk
So
about things, so from a
there's
time
couple things
perspective.
on it already, so it
Okay.
probably won't be that, but we
Okay.
don't have the projects anymore, so.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be too bad.
Okay, so that's fine. Start that in June. Aaron's suggestion there. Okay.
Because then if it's a 5-minute discussion, it's a 5-minute discussion. If
Right.
it's not, then, and, yeah.
So just have an ongoing end of regular session going to a non-public to talk about cybersecurity issues
Mhm.
or other.
Or other, yeah.
Well, I guess we have to be specific on what we cite for RSA purposes.
Right.
Um,
I mean, I don't know if you have to have the RSA on
I
here.
think you do, yeah.
Normally, when we go non-public, we say,
Yeah, but I don't know that it's written on the agenda.
Sorry, guys, there is the possibility of including on the agenda possible non-public session. That way the opportunity is always there and you can cite the RSA when you make the motion to go into non-public.
So
That makes
then
sense.
it might be useful because if we just had like
It
a
has to be
listing of
posted.
the RSAs and it just said possible non-public,
yeah, like. she
then
said.
if we wanted to talk about the thing we weren't talking about earlier, we could say, you know, for litigation purposes, if we needed to talk about cybersecurity, we'd have the RSA for
Yeah.
that. So we could kind of call the ball
Yeah.
for the last section of the meeting
Yep.
as we need.
And if
it.
there's nothing, there's nothing.
If there's nothing, there's nothing.
Makes sense. All right. Yeah, that's good advice, Don. Maybe from now on, we want to put that in the minutes that we want to have the regular agenda have a consistent end of meeting
Potential.
possible non-public session.
I like that a lot.
So on this action items, number 100, should we delete that off here? Because we're probably never going to be talking about that in these
Yep.
meetings. All right, so you can delete number 100. I think 99, we said we're going to go to June. And did we add one on here?
We did add one, yeah.
Yeah.
Clarification of possible inconsistencies on the
Model maps.
model
The
maps,
model map.
hydraulic model maps
Hydraulic model maps, okay.
for Underwood
June, yeah.
All right,
for June.
so we're good with action items?
Mhm.
You're all set, Don, right?
Sorry, I am, yes.
All right. You had your hand up still, so I didn't know if you still had another question or not.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, what are we?
that's the cursor.
No, she's
See
good.
that?
She's good.
Oh,
No, she did.
oh, I didn't know if you saw that.
Yeah, no, there was. Thank you.
All right, move on to old business. Any old business on anybody's part? Seeing none, move on to new business. Any new business on anybody's part? The only thing I have was if you look at the distribution PFAS results, there's PFBA in every distribution sample site in April. And I think it's just because we got early breakthrough on our wells. PFBA had broken through. So what I was going to say here is, I believe Kristen said in our budget, she carried 6-month change out instead of 8-month change outs.
She carried 2 a year. It's because the 8 months doesn't work in a year.
Right.
Well, so yeah, she always carries 2 a year.
So I guess the question I'm asking is, do we want to change our procedure that's written 8 months to 6 months to match the budget and maybe alleviate these breakthroughs of PFBA?
Right. The breakthrough, were you able to look back and see what wells it was, and it was because we hadn't changed out? Were we waiting for the 8 months, or was it because?
Well, it's the 2 and 9. 2 and 9, I think it's 2 and 9, 4 and 5 that are breaking through. 2 and 9, I think it's.
So lag vessels, 100% breakthrough, 4 and 5 already happened.
Yeah.
Well, 7 and 8, we have 50%. So it didn't come into the effluent yet. So wells 2 and 9 and 4 and 5, we are bleeding into the drinking water right now. So that's probably, and then we just changed 7 and 8. When was that? That was whatever we changed the last time.
December?
Yeah, January.
So we're looking at 7 and 8.
We voted in February.
The fact that we're getting it everywhere, Continental Boulevard, every sample site had low digits PFBA only. You know, I mean, people would probably love to have this quality of water in other cities and towns, because that's the only, it's very low, but it's there. So the highest I see is 4.3.
And it's a short chain one that is not as considered to be not as
Right.
concerning at low quantities.
We're changing out next week at
Right.
2 and 9.
I guess my ongoing concern with that I still haven't fully grasped if I'm overthinking this or I'm the only one that's right. Sorry, that sounded terrible, but I just don't get it. No, because because right now this is the lag vessel, right? That's our insurance policy vessel, right?
Yeah.
Which is now bleeding through, which is going to be the lead vessel going forward, right? And I'm assuming that bleeding is going to continue, which means it's going to contaminate the new fresh lag vessel even faster. So
With that short chain, yeah.
with that short chain. So I still feel that we have a self-amplifying effect there that's only going to be shortening the life cycle of any change-out media as far as the PFBA goes.
So you want to change both filters out at once?
I don't know what I want. I'm asking if that assumption is true.
So you're loading the lag vessel with fresh media with low levels of PFBA first, because nothing else is breaking through other than PFBA.
But it does break through faster than
It does,
any of
yeah,
the other
there's no doubt about
contaminants,
that.
right? So if I look at all the charts, that chart's going to start out with even a higher load to begin with, because, well, what is it?
Again, it's low, it's very low numbers.
Well, really the question is,
So what you're saying is the PFBA breaking through and going into the fresh
Lag vessel.
lag
vessel.
vessel, is that shortening the lifespan of
of the
that
lag vessel,
vessel?
correct?
so that it's gonna affect us later down the line with more than the PFBA,
No. Is it gonna affect
just the lifespan of that
just the
vessel.
lifespan of the lag vessel in terms of PFBA?
Yeah.
And I think it does. Why? Because it gets PFBA from the get-go, while the original lag vessel did not.
And I think this is part of the whole why we're doing this. The columns for polishing purposes to see
Right.
if there's something that works on PFBA better
Correct,
than what we have now.
correct.
Because we've talked about maybe having a different media and that kind of thing, but we do have budgeted for 6-month changeouts if we wanted to condense to 6-month changeouts.
And maybe this is an opportunity for us to prove or disprove that concern, right?
Right. I don't.
We can monitor now the life cycle, the lifetime of that lag vessel that's now gonna get hit with PFBA right away, once we change out the media, right? And we can see if that saturates faster than the original.
You're talking
Lead
about
vessel.
if we go to 6 months, you mean?
So what you're saying is after when we do the change out next, we'll know that PFBA is going into that vessel from
Correct.
day one.
Correct.
So now we can look at that vessel and see if it breaks through faster than a vessel that didn't have PFBA going
Coming
into it.
correct.
Right
Out of
away.
the lead vessel, correct. That's exactly
Well,
right.
I don't think this is the first time it's happened.
Probably not, but I'm not sure if we
Definitely
looked
not
at
the
that
first time
data.
it's happened.
Right.
I'm not
Right,
sure,
'cause if
I'm
you
not
look
sure
back,
if we looked at
there's
that data.
Like
Right.
2 times in 2023 that happened, and this is what breaks through first.
And
This,
actually,
this is the first time we've had detects of PFBA in every distribution sample site. We've had like sporadic 1 or 2,
right,
but then most of them were non-detect. This time they were all,
and very suddenly so.
and still low levels, like I said.
And it could be coincidental as well, because we are flushing as well.
Yeah.
So we could be spreading around because we're flushing.
Oh, that's a good point.
Do we start flushing before you pull the samples on 4?
Nobody's saying if there's one
424.
well breaking through.
Right.
You could be pulling.
I just didn't know
water
if they
down the
started
site.
flushing before 424.
I mean, we're flushing.
Yeah, it's true. Your flushing, did it happen before 424?
Flushing all month. We
Probably
started beginning of the month, so.
beginning April?
We started flushing the beginning of April, yeah.
Okay.
Or beginning of,
That's interesting. That we could have been pulling that around.
Yeah, but let's keep in mind, the distribution system was not intended to be a gauge for us as to the condition of the filter media in the vessels. It was intended for us to have better understanding of how things may distribute in the lines, and if there's residual contamination in the lines. That was the intent of the sampling in the distribution system. I guess what I'm more concerned about it is right now, we know when we have breakthrough at the 100% port, right, of each filter vessel. And that's really what matters. Because once it's there, it's at one way or another, at one point or another in the distribution system, right? The sample points in the distribution systems are not helping us with that information at all. So I guess what would be really interesting for me is to ask Underwood, can you guys sit down and put your thinking cap on and tell us what have we learned about using fresh lag vessel media with an already PFBA contaminated at 100% at the 100% port at the lead vessel. That was the former lag vessel. What can we deduce from that data that we have collected? And does it make sense for us to use a lag vessel that is already contaminated at the 100% port, showing breakthrough of PFBA? Does it make sense for us to use that as a lead vessel going forward without any polishing that specifically addresses PFBA? Does that make sense? I know it's complicated, but
I think I'm also, and maybe it's, we have the data and I could literally just spend a couple hours and go through it and be able to come up with my own answer. But my question is, now that we've run these systems for what, a couple of years now, some of them,
Yeah.
what, like, if we could look at the data and look at when we've done change outs and sit there and say, okay, 8 months, we're way off. We should be at, 5 or 8, could we come up with a better policy guesstimate on our change out timing with the information that we had, that we didn't have when I was fresh on
So-
sitting here, and we didn't have,
I do
we
know
guesstimated 8 months.
in Hoosick Falls, they change out the vessel, as soon as the lead vessel breaks through,
They change it.
that's when they change it. What we do is we say, as soon as a lead vessel breaks through, has it been in service 8 months or not? If it's only been in service 6 months or 5 months and it breaks through, we let it run to the eighth month, and then we change it.
And
Let it break through the short chain or the,
Any, when we went up there, they said they change the media as soon as any PFAS breaks through.
any PFAS breaks through.
and maybe,
And it's not on a time, it's when, it could be 3 months, it could be 8 months, depends. And you get variations, because if you're in the middle of the winter, you're only using 1.8 million gallons a day, and then you go in the summer, you're using 4.5 million
and
gallons.
I guess I would be interested also
The 8 months doesn't
to
account for
see
that.
if
know?
if there is a consistent amount, like a consistent, we've run this many gallons through this filter and now it is full and bleeding. Is that the amount of water we're putting to these vessels
bed
before
water,
they break
yeah.
through? Is that consistent?
That would be good to know.
So, and I'm
I just don't know.
that we want to pay someone to go through.
Analysis, yeah, because, well, I'm looking just at this report, right, looking at the patterns, and you see on 1/25/2023, there's breakthrough.
Yeah.
I don't like 2023. That's when we were dealing with Evoqua and the very difficulty of trying to get. So that,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying,
Yeah, and then 7/31 of 2023, if that's the same case, but at least you have something to explain that data point. But then you go to 7/23 of last year, you can see those numbers are elevated, not in all of them, but most of them.
Right.
So what happened on those
Summer,
dates? And is there a correlation there between that? So,
But you can't go by the distribution system data because
go by
that might
the-
be contaminated with Pennychuck water,
Yeah.
which has PFAS in it.
okay, but it is.
So we can only
That's
refer to vessel sampling point.
But we know when we haven't used Pennachuck water.
We do.
Yeah. So that's just another variable in there. I don't know. I don't know if that's, again, there are Pennachuck's water, it's PFOA. And we haven't had a detection of PFOA in the distribution system
In years.
since we had the treatment online, but. I mean, are we grasping for something that's just,
and
stars?
And if we start needing to run Pennachuck water, we're gonna have
I know,
PFAS giveaway in the.
which is a concern about having that be a permanent, viable makeup water source without having filtration.
And I guess, we could look at these numbers and say, okay, for the last 2 years, I know we have been able to take the change outs and bring them above the line and pay for them not out of reserve funds.
Yeah,
So maybe we wanna do, if we're not using, as long as we're not using Pennachuck water, maybe we want to say, hey, you know what? We're gonna try to change them out as soon as it breaks through the lead vessel and see what that looks like for a year. Would that push us to 3 change outs? Would it still be 2 change outs? We could do something like that
Yeah.
without it financially having a huge impact because we haven't used that fund for as much as we thought we needed it.
that's true.
And the change outs are more cost effective than they were when we started this with Evoqua.
That's
You
true.
need to save your lag media.
say you, and then, and it may help us in the long run. It might add more change outs, with that whole having the PFBA in the vessel from the beginning.
Yeah,
Maybe we are hurting ourselves in the long run.
yeah.
I think our engineers have all the data they need, and it would be great to get an advice.
Should we talk to
From-
Keith about this maybe next month if he's gonna be,
Something,
maybe
just the
that.
two of them, it's gonna be a long meeting.
Maybe they can get information, be just ready to
Right.
offer a suggestion.
That's definitely, we should ask for a suggestion.
Yeah. Cause nobody's really optimized this.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Right.
what we're talking about.
Right, we're kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, we haven't really optimized it. We've kind of set a precedent and run with it.
And just to remind you guys on the polishing thing, we wanted to run a pilot test to see if what's coming through our lead vessel can be polished or something, but the problem is the breakthroughs are so low that we wouldn't be able to really do a pilot test because I don't know,
I think the polishing thing was also to see if, because we're always using GAC right now, if we use something else in the lag vessel, is there something that would do better with the short chains that
Right.
breaking through for us all the time and causing us to
right.
change vessels sooner? So,
It's because if we did a pilot test on what was breaking through the lag vessel, we'd have to let the pilot test run through the tiny little pilot test
right,
device. But we'd be feeding all of that PFAS, PFBA water into our
the system,
distribution
right.
system during the whole pilot test. So that's a conundrum, you can't.
Right.
So I don't know, maybe we can kind of go over this with Keith or something next month, or I don't know if you want to reach out and try to get a hold of him ahead of time, but just maybe give him a heads up about some concepts, some ideas on how can we, what's the word I'm looking, how do we make it more efficient? Can we use this data to come up with something that's more efficient on when we change out?
I think optimize was the right word,
Optimize,
right?
that's the word I was looking for.
Well, I mean, to maybe make this a little bit shorter, we had at one point discussed, I think in one of the last meetings, maybe 2 months ago, to actually don't do GAC lead lag, but do GAC lead and resin or whatnot lag vessel, right? And not switch those two out anymore, as far as like reversing the two, but to make the one permanently the lead and with GAC and the other
So
one the
just swap
polishing
them
vessel.
when
Right.
in kind, in place.
Exactly, right. And take that well down for
Yeah, it
that
would have
week,
to be-
right? Or something. We would have to time it
But
properly.
we-
So we have
load and all
options.
We have options.
We have options. We do.
Like-
So, I mean, the question is, are we, and he's gonna look at me, are we trying, because I'm very good at that. Are we trying to be too good for our own good, right? We do all of that pilot testing, but would it be worthwhile for us to start talking to Underwood and say, you know what, we have a feeling about one of the best resins or one of the more suitable resins out there that are physically compatible with the type of vessel that we have in place
I don't
already?
think that exists though. I don't think there's a resin.
There wasn't, when we looked at
I
the
thought there was
resins,
one.
there
No.
wasn't one that was like, this is awesome. I think the problem is that every promise we've gotten from a vendor, because I remember watching when we were getting, the first time I did an annual meeting, I was watching the annual meeting when you guys put the vessels in front of everybody and said, hey, this is what we're gonna do. And the promises that were made in the time between changeouts and that meeting were nowhere near what we're doing now.
Oh, yeah,
So I think when
because it was
we,
based on PFOA.
and when we were looking at media, I think when we were even planning the pilot, I think part of the thing is there's not really hey, this is gonna solve your problem. There's a bunch of promises on a piece of paper. But since we're so far ahead of the curve, there was nothing like, hey, we should run this full scale. There was nothing that said, hey, it's gonna be promising enough on those short chains to make us wanna set up a whole set for it.
I'm not sure if that's what I recall from latest discussions. I know that using resin for the whole, barrage of different types of PFAS.
Yeah.
Is not suitable. Why? Because resin is very expensive and it's going to get basically just hammered with the stuff that GAC can take care of just fine, right? I think the argument has been in the past, we use GAC to take the grunt, right? Or brunt is the proper term, I think. Take the brunt of the load, right? Of the contaminant load, and then have a resin as the polishing media as a success, as a lag vessel, right? And my question is, do we have, and that's an Underwood question. I really don't want to think about this. I want to ask Underwood.
Yeah, I know.
Is there, and they should know that, right? And I'm sure they do actually. And I don't want to sound negative at all. I actually have very much confidence in them. Is there a resin out there that we can pump into our lag vessel today that's physically compatible with the shape and, bed volumes and diameter ratio, whatnot, of that lag vessel, that we can fill the lag vessel with and use that so we can replace the GAC every so often because it gets laden with PFOA and all the long chain ones, right, every so often. But we don't care about the short chain anymore because we have the lag vessel full of resin that keeps sucking it up.
I think
And I would like to hear if that's an option.
that's a good question for Underwood, but I think when we were discussing running the pilots, I think they were saying there wasn't enough information available because all you have is to go on the vendor's word right now.
Right.
And not everybody, and people, there's not enough communities sitting in our spot saying, hey, we've got short chain breakthrough and we want to polish out the short chains because we're still on the leading edge of the filtering altogether. So basically,
I don't think what we're talking about has been done anywhere.
right. And I think that's part of the problem is you basically have vendors saying, oh yeah, we probably could do that. But I don't think there's enough concrete information to say, hey, and that's why we were doing the
Right. I guess my question is, where do we stand with
Pilot
those
study.
pilot studies, right?
I think we're
So once we get through the pilot, I
Yeah.
have more.
That will tell us a little bit
But-
more.
In talking with John, just draw a blank, John Allen, who's our rep for the media that we're actually not in we're in pretty good shape with what we have with our treatment plants. We have options. And I actually felt pretty good after I talked to him the last time there. And you could layer our vessels. You could do resin GAC layers. You could do resin in one. You could do GAC in one. There's different things you can do. And so we're not in bad shape. I mean, we actually do have the nozzles. They're different nozzles in the vessels.
Mhm.
We actually got at 4 and 5. They shipped us when we bought the vessels for 4 and 5. We got the wrong nozzles, so we actually have a set of nozzles for resin at our Parker tank. So we actually have a set of nozzles, and then they're the same vessels in all of the 7 and 8 might be different, so we might need a different set of nozzles, but technically we could, with the same vessels at 2 and 9 that in 4 and 5. So you could take one of the nozzles and you could probably have to get more made up, but if we wanted to convert one of the vessels or one vessel to stay with GAC in one and resin in the other, just change the nozzles over inside the vessel. We have the nozzle already.
That's interesting because I think Underwood has said, and from what I know in the industry and from I know Purolite, I deal with them a lot, and they've clearly said you can't put resin in a GAC vessel because the sizing is all wrong and it's not going to work. You'll have early break. For the amount of resin you're buying, you're going to not use most of it because the PFBA is going to channel right down the middle of it. And you're going to waste most of that resin because of the configuration of the vessel. So maybe there's a different resin manufacturer that's telling you something different, maybe.
They
I don't know.
They shipped us the wrong nozzles for the vessel.
Yeah.
we pulled them out and they give us new nozzles.
Yeah, it's not just the nozzles, it's
Yeah.
the geometry of the vessel. If it's got, it needs to be
Height to width
skinnier.
ratio.
Yeah, it needs to be
Yeah.
skinnier, because
So-
otherwise it's gonna channel.
Bring this back. The ask is to get us optimized to deal with this. That's the ask. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think I think a lot of the info, we're gonna have to wait for the
The pilot.
pilot testing to be done, so we can see what
If there's a certain
what they really
media
do
that-
with our water.
like the
And-
last one that breaks through PFBA is probably one we want
Have a
to really
look.
take a good look at, you know what I
Right.
mean?
And I think that's why we were made sure we had our media in the pilot column too,
Yeah.
because now we're comparing apples to apples.
Yeah,
Instead of just comparing a bunch of different things.
right,
We know how ours acts.
right.
But again, to your point, Don, yes, there is some in the system and we'll have a change out a week here.
Yeah. It's important that you brought the thing up about the flushing, because that could have pulled water from one of the, looks like two of the wells have breakthrough, one doesn't, or treatment plants, I should say. And if you're pulling water from two of those treatment plants over to the other part of town,
We generally start we start at the.
that could have had an effect.
And we work outwards towards the wells, but regardless, all the wells pump to the tank, generally to the Turkey Hill tank, and we, like I said, we work
Yeah.
centralized outward, but.
Yeah. All right.
Last question, layering. When I hear layering, I'm getting worried about rejuvenation. If we're mixing GAC and resin in one tank by layering it, like you said earlier.
You would have to get rid of the whole, you wouldn't be able to regenerate.
Right.
Yeah.
Get rid of the whole load.
Right.
It'd be disposed of. the whole
Right,
load.
okay. So that's not really probably a good option for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you backwash that, it's gonna separate based
Layers.
on the density of the media, so
Yeah.
Have to be
as
layered.
long as you
correctly.
layer it correctly, it don't mix the other way around. All right,
Thank you.
that was deep in the weeds.
Yeah, but I think
I think it was good that we had that because
It is, I know, yeah. It's,
do we have a projection when those pilot tests are coming somewhat to an end? Are they at the 50%?
yeah, I wonder how long the EPA's thing runs out.
I will get that information for you.
That would be a
I
good
don't-
number to have next week in that discussion. I mean, next month, yeah. All right, so that was the end of the new business. I assume there's no other new business? Questions from the press and public? I don't know if we can tell if anyone's on the
Just move.
in the waiting room there.
No, they're not. It says 3 participants.
Just three?
No,
All right.
three are still awake.
All right, so our next meeting is on June 16th. And if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Scott, second by
Seconded.
Wolf. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
500, no oppositions, abstentions. We'll see you next month, Merrimack. Thank you.
Thank you.